Nobody knew his real name. The old man shuffled through the iron gates of Ironwood Maximum Security like a ghost who'd forgotten how to haunt. His prison blues hung loose on his skeletal frame. His hands trembled. His eyes stayed fixed on concrete. When he entered the yard for the first time, the whole place went quiet for exactly 3 seconds. Then the laughter erupted. 4 men stood by the weight rack, arms crossed, tattoos covering every inch of skin. They called themselves the Apex Crew. Dante, the leader, was a mountain of muscle with a spider web tattooed across his bald head. His crew, Marcus, Julio, and Cain, were younger, hungrier, willing to kill for nothing but respect. Well, 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 Dante said, stepping forward. Who brought Grandpa to the party? The yard exploded. Marcus spat on the ground. Julio pulled a sharpened toothbrush from his waistband. You lost, old man. Cain shoved him. Hard. The old man stumbled, barely catching himself against the fence. But he didn't cry out. He didn't beg. He just straightened up slowly and stared at them with eyes that didn't belong in a broken man. They were ice. They were death. And worst of all, they were familiar. Dante stopped laughing. His hand moved toward his shank because somewhere in his memory he'd seen those eyes before, and everyone who was either dead or doing life without parole. Before you find out what happens next, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling us what country you're listening from. Now keep watching because what comes next will blow your mind. The old man didn't say a word. He walked slowly to the corner of the yard, each step measured, each breath controlled. A young inmate named Rico, barely 22, watched him from the bench. He'd heard stories, rumors, legends whispered in the dark. The old man sat down on the concrete and closed his eyes. Rico couldn't help himself. He walked over. You good old-timer. The old man opened one eye. His voice came out like gravel scraping against metal. I've been better. Rico glanced nervously at the Apex Crew. They were still watching, still laughing. Those guys, they run this yard. You disrespect them, you don't last long. The old man nodded slowly. I know the type. Then why didn't you bow down? Because I don't bow, not for anyone. Rico was about to respond when Marcus strutted over, chest puffed out. Hey, old man, you deaf. When Dante talks to you, you answer. I heard him, and I'm not interested in whatever game you're playing. Marcus's face turned red. You think this is a game? He grabbed the old man by the collar, lifting him halfway off the ground. You're in our house now. You play by our rules or you bleed. The old man's expression didn't change. Let me go. Or what? You gonna fight me? You can barely stand. The old man's hand moved faster than anyone expected. He grabbed Marcus's wrist, twisted it at an unnatural angle, and in one fluid motion flipped him over his hip. Marcus hit the concrete face first. Crack. Blood spread across the ground. The entire yard went silent. Dante pushed through the crowd, his face twisted with rage. Cain and Julio flanked him, shanks out. You just made the biggest mistake of your miserable life. The old man stood up straight. For the first time, people could see his body wasn't frail. It was lean, wiry, built like someone who'd survived hell multiple times. He rolled his sleeve up slowly, revealing a tattoo that made Dante freeze. A black scorpion with a crown, faded, old, but unmistakable. That tattoo only belonged to one organization, the Obsidian Syndicate, the most ruthless crime family in the last 30 years. They'd controlled everything. Drugs, guns, politicians, judges. They disappeared overnight 18 years ago after a federal raid. Dante's voice cracked. That's impossible. You're not him. The old man's voice dropped. My name is Vincent Calloway. They called me the Reaper. And 18 years ago, I controlled half the eastern seaboard. Rico stumbled backward. Everyone knew that name. Vincent Calloway had orchestrated the biggest prison break in history. He'd killed 14 rival bosses in one night. He'd walked into a courthouse and executed 3 witnesses. They said he'd burned down an entire neighborhood to make a point. They said after the feds caught him, he'd vanished. Some believed he was dead. Others believed he made a deal and disappeared. Nobody believed he'd just been hiding in plain sight. Dante stared at the scorpion tattoo, then at Vincent. You're supposed to be dead. I tried to be for a long time. Tried to disappear, to be nobody. But men like you keep reminding me why I can't stay dead. Kane lunged with his shank. Vincent sidestepped, grabbed his wrist and snapped it. Kane screamed. The shank clattered to the ground. Julio charged. Vincent ducked low, swept his legs, and before he hit the concrete, caught him in a chokehold. 5 seconds. Julio went limp. Dante backed up. His voice shook. You got 30 of my guys in this yard. You're just one old man. Vincent smiled. It wasn't warm. It was the smile of a predator who'd been sleeping too long. Good. I was hoping for a challenge. 20 years ago, the Obsidian Syndicate controlled 6 states. Vincent Calloway built it from nothing, started as a street enforcer at 16. By 25, he'd eliminated every rival crew. By 30, he had judges and senators on his payroll. They said he orchestrated the biggest prison break in history. They said he killed 14 rival bosses in one night. They said after the feds caught him, he vanished in transit. Some believed he was dead. Others believed he made a deal and disappeared. Nobody believed he'd just been hiding in plain sight. Dante stared at the legend standing before him. You're bluffing. You're just some crazy old man. Vincent's eyes never left him. Try me. The whistle blew. Guards rushed in. Chaos erupted. Dante's crew attacked. 10 men rushed Vincent from all sides. He moved like water. Punch, block, dodge, counter. One man dropped, another collapsed. A third went down screaming. Vincent didn't have weapons. He didn't need them. Kane tried to grab him from behind. Vincent drove his elbow backward. Crack. Kane dropped. Julio swung a metal tray at his head. Vincent caught it, ripped it away, slammed it into his chest. Marcus pulled a knife and lunged. Vincent grabbed his wrist and twisted. The knife turned, pressing against Marcus's own throat. Drop it. Marcus dropped it. The guards got control. Batons swinging, pepper spray everywhere, but Vincent stood in the center untouched. They dragged him away in cuffs. Dante watched him go, blood dripping from his split lip. That night the prison buzzed with rumors. The old man was Vincent Calloway, the Reaper, the legend. Rico found himself in Vincent's cell. Why didn't you tell anyone who you were? Because being someone means expectations. I was tired of that, so you just gave up. I tried to. But some fires don't go out. Rico leaned forward. Dante's planning something. They're going to move you to solitary, then kill you during transfer. Let them try. You're not worried. Vincent looked at him. Kid, I've survived 3 assassination attempts and 2 prison riots. I'm not worried about wannabe gangsters. So what now? Now we remind them what happens when you wake a sleeping monster. The next morning, inmates who'd been terrorized by the Apex crew for years suddenly felt brave. Vincent had given them hope. Dante gathered his crew in the shower block, 25 of them, every member armed. He's just one man, Dante growled. He embarrassed us. Tonight when they move him, we finish this. We kill him. Marcus nodded. What about the guards? We pay them, same as always. But word had spread to the warden. Thompson knew exactly who Vincent Calloway was. He knew what happened when legends got cornered. That evening they came for Vincent. 6 guards, full riot gear. Vincent stood calmly as they cuffed him. Where are we going? Solitary. Warden's orders. Vincent smiled. No, we're not. You're walking me into an ambush. Dante paid you off. The lead guard's hand twitched. You don't know what you're talking about. Vincent leaned closer. Your left pocket. 2,000 cash. Dante's handwriting. I can describe it down to the ink smudge. The guard went pale. How? Because I've been running cons since before you were born. Make your choice. The guard looked at his team, then back at Vincent. He stepped aside. Go. Vincent walked past him, uncuffed himself, and headed toward the shower block. Rico and a dozen others were waiting, armed with whatever they could find. You don't have to do this. Yes, we do, Rico said. You showed us we don't have to be afraid. Vincent nodded. Then stay behind me. No heroics. Follow my lead or you die. The shower block was silent. Steam hung in the air. Then Dante stepped out of the shadows, 24 men behind him. Shanks, razors, chains, last chance, old man, kneel and beg, maybe I'll make it quick. Vincent cracked his knuckles, I don't kneel, then die. Chaos erupted. The Apex crew charged. Vincent met them head on. He moved like a hurricane. Punch, kick, dodge, counter. 1 went down, then 2, then 3. Rico swung his pipe. Another inmate tackled Kane. The shower block became a battlefield. Blood mixed with water. Metal clanged. Dante went straight for Vincent, swinging a chain. Vincent caught it, yanked him forward, head-butted him. Dante stumbled. Vincent drove his knee into his stomach, his elbow into his spine, finished with a punch that sent him crashing. The fight lasted 3 minutes. When it was over, the Apex crew was finished. Some unconscious, some fleeing. Dante lay in water and blood, gasping. Vincent stood over him. You wanted to see the Reaper. Here I am. Dante coughed blood. Please, I'm sorry, now you do. This prison doesn't belong to you anymore. You leave them alone or next time I won't be merciful. Guards flooded in. Alarms blaring. The warden appeared. Mr. Calloway, Vincent nodded. Warden, we need to talk. Later. First, get these men to medical. Vincent turned to Rico. You fought well. Stay clean. Don't let this turn you into something you're not. What about you? I think it's time I finished my sentence. The right way, weeks passed. The Apex crew was disbanded. Dante was transferred. The yard was different now. Calmer. Inmates started programs, started talking instead of fighting. Vincent became a mentor. He taught them how to survive, how to think, how to be more than their worst mistake. Rico asked him once, why'd you come back? Why not stay hidden? Because hiding isn't living. I'm tired of surviving. I want to mean something. Even here. Years later, when Vincent walked out of Ironwood a free man, the warden shook his hand. You changed this place. Vincent smiled. No, they changed themselves. I just reminded them they could. He walked into the sunlight, old but unbroken. The Reaper had died. Vincent Calloway lived on. And that, my friends, is the legend of Vincent Calloway. The crime boss who entered prison broken and humiliated, but reminded everyone why legends never truly die. This story shows us redemption is always possible, that no matter how dark your past, you can still choose to be better. Sometimes the most dangerous thing isn't the monster you fear, it's the monster who decides to fight for good. If this story moved you, if it gave you chills, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Comment below telling us what country you're listening from. We love hearing from our global family. If you know someone who needs this reminder that it's never too late to change, share this story. Let them know even legends can find redemption. We've got more stories coming. Tales of courage, revenge, redemption, and the raw truth behind bars. Until next time, stay strong and stay true. This is your storyteller signing off. Stay legendary, my friends.